What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm Friday Night Live stream. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you had a really nice holiday. Hope everything was good. Everything was safe. Time to get down to business here. I'm Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. And Craig, we jumped headfirst this week into the Nugget, into the Super Contest, a little Thanksgiving action, and even a little Friday night action as far as college football went.
Yeah, we decided to take a stab at one of the Thanksgiving Day games on Thursday and then a college game on Friday. And I guess looking back on it, it was probably the wrong choice to make, but those are the choices that you got to make sometimes during the week. And I thought overall it was a fun day of football yesterday. Really, I would say one out of the three games was very competitive. The third game had a lot of fun, toward the end of the game with a potential cover against the spread with all the onside kicking. And then, of course, the college game at night was just insane, just kind of how everything went down between Mississippi and Mississippi State. There were some pretty good games today, but tomorrow I think we'll have some fun games to go over here. And certainly Alabama playing against Auburn is always a really exciting rivalry. That game will be a 3:30 Eastern game. And then Wisconsin will play Minnesota for the right to play in the Big Ten championship. So there's still a lot at stake in college football. And then a week from today, we'll be previewing all of the college championships, the ACC championship, the SEC championship, the Big Ten championship. Those are all, there's a couple that are Thursday and Friday, but really next Saturday are the huge games there. And then we head into the bowl season after Army-Navy, of course.
There we go. After Army-Navy, that's going to be a good one. You know I love my academies. I know.
Navy looks Army like the better team.
Well.
No, they haven't, but I actually like Army tomorrow night. Playing, I won't see the game. They're playing it at 12:30. Yeah, the 9. You could watch it at 9:30 your time. Yeah,
I will be watching it.
But yeah, I think. Look, I mean, it was hard to piggyback off what Army did last year. Navy's been the better team of the academies this season, that's for sure. And I'm sure. I mean, if I had to guess, we'll preview the Army-Navy game 2 weeks from Tuesday. So if I had to guess, I'll say Navy will be, 4-point favorites, maybe 4.5-point favorites. That would be a guess.
All right, beautiful. I'd take that. Laying 4. Why not? Do you traditionally bet the Army-Navy game? Is it usually a tight spread?
It's usually pretty close. Navy in the past has always been a winner and always been a favorite. But Army over the last couple of years has played much better. So, look, there's no doubt that the game could come down to the end because, I mean, they're just running the ball constantly. And so a lot of times it is closer than what people think.
All right, cool. Very much looking forward to it. I've been riding the academies all season long. Going to keep doing that as well. Let's get to it. Let's talk about what we've got going down for the Golden Nugget and the Westgate Super Contest. We'll start with the Nugget. The college games, Texas Tech, we had +10. We already lost that one. Starting off in the hole, they got out to a nice early lead, and then
they did.
All of a sudden, man, hooked them horns, huh?
Yeah, it was 14-0, and Texas came back to make it 14-14. Texas Tech had the ball on the 1 of Texas. They couldn't punch it in. They had another 4th and 1 that they couldn't get throughout the game. They also went for it on a 4th and 4 instead of kicking a field goal. But look, excuses aside, Texas came out sluggish, which I expected. But look, Texas Tech was not a good football team all season. I was just kind of hoping that they could catch that spread, and they just made so many mistakes toward the end of the game. And it was close. I mean, it was close for a while. Even at the half, you felt pretty good about things. But no, in the second half, Texas it took it to them.
All right, well, there you go. So we start off 0-1, but I think we can dig ourselves out of that hole. Next game we're taking Kansas State. They are a 5-point underdog to Iowa State. K-State's been pretty good to us throughout this this year, so I like it. I don't mind it. Give me your breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I the way it stands is the line opened up at 6 or 7. It kind of moved down. And right now it's gone back a little bit to around 5. And so when I look at it, Iowa State is kind of one of the more overrated teams, I think, in college football this season. They've been winning games, but they've been winning a lot of close games, and they really don't have any signature or impressive wins throughout the season for me. So I like what K-State has shown throughout the year. I would say that Kansas State at home gives them somewhat of an opportunity and a chance here. Iowa State's won 2 games in a row. 5-2 at home, but only 2-2 on the road, and laying points in this one. So I think this is a close game, and I think the Wildcats can close out the regular season potentially with a win, and this would put them obviously in a much better bowl spot too if they do win tomorrow.
Absolutely. Third game we're looking at here, Marshall, the Thunder and Herd -7.5. Interesting one here. FIU. I'm sure you've got a really good bead on Florida International as to why we're diving into this one.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. There's two factors. The first factor is FIU's coming off their biggest win in school history, playing at Marlins Park and beating the Miami Hurricanes. They were 20-point underdogs, and they won the game outright. The other part about FIU under Butch Davis, they've been great at home, horrible on the road. They have not won a game all season long on the road, 0-4. And so Marshall is just the much better team here, and I think that there's a little bit of an overreaction to them winning, and also an overreaction to last week. Marshall lost at Charlotte, which was like a monster loss for them, and then kind of put them out of a big bowl game scenario. But they're still second in Conference USA, still have an opportunity, I think, to still play for some things. FIU has already clinched a bowl game, so pretty much no matter what, even if they finish 6-6, I think they're going to put them into some irrelevant bowl game. Not a lot to play for, really, for FIU, and they got their win at Miami. I mean, who would have thought that? Miami has lost to 3 teams this season, being a 20-point favorite or more. It's never happened in the history of college football. So I think Marshall just rolls over FIU tomorrow, and I think they just keep it simple. And also got to be seething after that loss last week at Charlotte. The Thunder and Herd were in a really good spot, and Charlotte's not a good football team. So I would think that there's a good bounce back coming here.
All right. And then the fourth college game we're touching on is we're taking Navy -8.5. I'm going back to the well against Houston here. I mean, listen, Houston, they really screwed me last week. They did.
Yeah, Houston didn't play well, though. I mean, it was basically...
No, they didn't play well.
Tulsa just outgained them like crazy, but they just kept turning the ball over. So, and I think, by the way, going against Tulsa is a good play this week. They play East Carolina. But look, Navy's the kind of team that they could just run all over you, and there's really been no preparation whatsoever for Houston against this. The line is now 8.5 in this one. They're 6-1 in the conference is Navy. And Houston's playing for nothing. They're not going to a bowl game. Houston kind of got their big win in their bowl game last week against Tulsa. So I mean, right. I could see Navy just rolling over them.
I agree. I definitely agree. And listen, I mean, again, it's like you said. There's no incentive for them to be doing anything. Not even playing for pride. So
no. And Navy wins. If Navy wins, they move to 9-2, and then a 10-win season would be one of the biggest, I think, the biggest turnaround in their history from one season to another for the midshipmen. So there's still a lot to play for them.
Last one we're talking about is Oregon State, a 19.5-point spread here in the Golden Nugget. I actually forgot to check earlier today what that line is right now, but we're leaning on the Oregon State side. Yeah. We're taking the points.
Yeah, and again, a very similar situation when you come down to the end of the season. Oregon has dominated this matchup. They've won by an average of 30 or 40 points over the last few years. That is definitely true. But what is Oregon feeling right now after that loss last week that knocked them out of any chance for the national championship? It doesn't matter if they win the Pac-12 or not. Right. Oregon State has been a doormat in college football over the last 5 years. They almost beat Washington State last week. If Oregon State wins this game, I don't know if they will, but if they win this game, they go to a bowl for the first time in, I think it's been almost 10 years. So I do think Oregon will win the game, but I think that this is just too many points in what could be considered a rivalry game. A lot of these games are going to be similar to what you saw between Mississippi and Mississippi State last night. When teams like this face off against each other, anything goes. So I do expect Oregon to win, but I think this is the first time the Beavers are going to actually give the Ducks a run for their money here. So we'll take those 19.5. Is it 19.5?
19.5 is what we're getting.
Down to 19 now. So we'll take those 19.5 points.
Sure thing. Absolutely. So there you go. Those are our college games that we've taken. Again, guys, you can go to wageralarm.com. You can see the slips actually posted right there. Craig and I do it. We track the standings throughout as well. You've got links to all of that so you can see exactly where Craig and I are. Before I get to the pro games that we're going to be doing here for the Golden Nugget, just want to give you a little shout out to Monkey Knife Fight. Go to fantasyalarm.com/monkey and get yourself in there, registered over at Monkey Knife Fight. It's all prop games, guys. It's a great time. It really is. Halftime props, full game props. You can go through anything you want. monkeyknifefight.com is the site. You can go to fantasyalarm.com/monkey. I think we're still doing a little $10 match bonus for your first deposit. So get in on that. Now, pro games that we're doing for the Super Contest. First game here, Colts -3. We're doubling up on this one with the Super Contest as well. It's 2.5
right
in the Super Contest. But here we go. We're giving the full 3 here in the night. Listen, I got to tell you, man, you said something earlier to me before the show started about T.Y. Hilton being out. I got to be honest with you. I don't really feel like that's going to have as big an impact as maybe some people would think or suggest. We've been without T.Y. Hilton for a while, for a couple of weeks now, and everything has been everything. Much better run defense for the Colts to stop Derrick Henry. I mean, this is not like what Jacksonville, which was like a sieve last week against Derrick Henry. Colts run defense is a lot stronger. They also get back Pierre Desir, the cornerback who's been out for the last couple of weeks. So while Ryan Tannehill is doing nice things for the Tennessee Titans, I'm not looking at this as being I think it's going to be a very nice back and forth, close divisional game. But I think the Colts are just overall, they're the better team. I think that now that they've a full week removed from the Marlon Mack injury, can really sort things out. Jonathan Williams, the lead back, get Nyheim Hines more heavily involved there. And I think that this is a game where I think the Colts can easily cover this spread.
Well, obviously we would have loved Hilton in there, though. I mean, I can't sit here and deny that we had to get our picks in before. We chose to do that, and so we'll have to just hope and bite the bullet on this one. The Colts are down to -2, and I mean, I think Hilton is worth a half a point. He's really valuable to that offense. So, look, I think the Titans are fraudulent for sure. And so I'm hoping that plays itself out. Historically, with Tannehill in the 7 years he's been in the league, he's always been a great home quarterback and has not played well on the road. So we'll hope for those same results for sure on Sunday. And look, fortunately for us, in one of them, we have him at -2.5 in one of these contests.
There you go. Look at you. Always looking on the bright side, Craig. That's what I love, Silver linings, Mish. I never really understood what they meant when they called you that, but now...
There's a first for everything.
I know. There is a first for everything. Other game that we're taking in the Super Contest, again, another one we're going to double down. Steelers, we're taking them with the 2 points over the Browns. Steelers a home dog in this. Listen, just go back and look at Baker Mayfield's game log. Baker Mayfield has a great game, throws for 300-plus yards, multiple touchdowns. Suddenly the Browns are the greatest team in the history of football, and they're going to the playoffs. And what do they do the following week? He throws for like 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and they look terrible.
Right.
I'm banking on them looking terrible again here in this matchup. The rematch that ended really, really poorly the last time these two teams played.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at this game, there's a couple of things that I point out. The first thing is that Pittsburgh was 2 weeks ago a favorite in Cleveland. So what changed so much all of a sudden a couple of weeks later? I see one thing that's changed. Their best defensive player is not going to be on the field for the Browns. Honestly, Howard, I don't really get this one all that much. I'm going to say that the Steelers win the game outright, and we'll take those 2 points and take it to the house there. So I feel pretty good about this one. Of all the picks actually on the board that we're using this week, this is one of my favorites.
Well, I feel like it's kind of funny. What's changed? Devlin Hodges is the back at quarterback, which I think is actually an improvement for them.
I'm not really sure what happened in this one that all of a sudden, I guess the Browns, look, they're one of those teams that just is getting week-to-week love in terms of the spread, and it worked out a couple of weeks ago when they were favored at Denver, and everybody took Denver, and when Cleveland ended up winning. So, yeah, I mean, I like the Steelers as a home dog in this one for sure.
All right, so there you go. Those are our picks for the Golden Nugget. We lost the Texas Tech one already. We got Kansas State +5, Marshall -7.5, Navy -8.5, Oregon State +19.5, Colts -3, Steelers +2. Like I said, Colts and Steelers. Steelers are still a +2 in the Super Contest. Colts are -2.5, so we're in on those two. We lost with the Bears, -4.5. Now, I mean, when we were talking about the game too, I mean, it was kind of aggravating because, Bears obviously were -3.5 to open up the week, and they were still waffling. We thought that there was a chance that Driscoll was going to be out. Even on Wednesday, like Wednesday when they, I guess Wednesday they released the spreads for the contest when, like 5 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the live stream on
Pacific.
Tuesday, this is the first regret that I'll have all year. I never go back and say we should have. I never do that. But this is the one, because obviously on Tuesday we said on the live stream that if we could catch 7 with Buffalo in either one of the contests, we're going to take them in one and we're going to take them in both. Buffalo was only getting 6.5 in the contest. We didn't take Buffalo. That was a huge mistake. That's the first regret probably that I have all season long, because I really liked Buffalo and we didn't pull the trigger there. And if you go back and watch the live stream, but that's part of it. You have to weigh those decisions based on the number. And sometimes you're going to get that to that 7 and you want to have it. But in this case, it didn't really matter. In terms of the Bears, yeah, I mean, they were 3.5 point favorites all week long. Then all of a sudden the news came out that David Blau wasn't going to play on Saturday. You and I talked. We took it -4.5. That thing went to 6. And so it's just one of those times where we got the games in early and it caught us. I mean, that's just really what it was. I mean, in hindsight, we would have probably switched off. But to be honest with you, we have another game that we picked also that we're going down the same road again. I believe in the Super, unless we change our mind with one of the games in the Super contest. We'll have to decide before tomorrow. There's another key injury.
Which one?
Kyler Murray.
Oh, yeah. We're not. We can't change. It's already started. Our picks are in.
Okay, so we have Arizona. So we have Arizona plus the points because we put those in on Thursday, and now Kyler Murray is questionable for the game, and so you can't even bet the game right now. That's the status with that. I am hopeful that he will play, as I'm sure you are, Howard, too. Arizona's probably looking at it like they're playing for nothing this season, and do we play him or not? I hope that's not what they do. But we could be headed down that road on Sunday. We'll just have to see and pray.
Why you gotta depress me like that, Craig?
I was silver linings a couple of minutes ago.
I know, and now look at you.
Yeah, the game's off the board.
That's pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting. Put in a full practice. Yep, there it is. All right. Well, there you go. I don't know what to say about it anymore now. It's like, all right.
I think the lesson that we learned is that we tried to get ahead of things a little bit this year by using some of the games in Thanksgiving, and it may have been
never again.
Yeah, it may have been
never again. That's it. We're done.
We'll just skip them. Yeah.
Right? We are.
We'll skip them. So anyway, we have Arizona +3. If Kyler Murray's out, the Rams will be favored by 3 or by 6 on Sunday. They'll be a huge favorite if the Cardinals are out. I cannot tell you who their backup quarterback is. Do you have a clue?
Yeah, it's what's his face?
Thanks.
I'm looking it up right now. Brett Hundley.
Not terrible.
Not terrible. And I'll tell you what, man, this game, in all honesty,
you're alive.
Barely. I thought I've got a pulse. Listen,
he wasn't
this
great
game really
when
comes
Rodgers
down
was out, but
this comes down to the defense for Arizona. It really does, because if they can get to Goff, and Arizona's got a very underrated defensive line. If they can get to Jared Goff, if they can sit there and they can mix up a bunch of different looks and really get to Jared Goff and not let Sean McVay dictate what the offensive scheme is going to be.
Well, he hasn't dictated anything in a year, so it's
I know
possible.
he's been terrible. So it comes down to the Arizona D.
And by the way, Arizona's had trouble stopping tight ends all year. The tight end was announced out today, right, from Arizona.
Gerald Everett?
Or for the Rams, right? So
that's all right. They still got Tyler Higbee, and man.
Oh, that's right.
Fantasy-wise, I made my bones on Tyler Higbee with the Higbee special: 1 catch, 8 yards, and a touchdown. That's it. That's all he gets.
All right, so we have Arizona +3. So Indianapolis, Arizona, Pittsburgh, and let's close it out with the final 2.
And let's close it out. Well, we did. Bears, Colts, Cardinals, Steelers.
Yes, last one.
Your favorite, baby. Monday Night Football.
Minnesota?
Vikings.
Yeah, here's the good news.
Vikings
I've never been right on the Vikings all season. Here's the good news. I've been wrong on. You have. This is like your Seahawks from last year. So I'm leaning on you this year for the Vikings.
All right. I'm fine with that. I like this team. I love this team. Dalvin Cook, questionable, put in a full practice. He's good to go. There is no question. We're perfectly fine with him.
These injuries, by the way, what's going on with this? Like last-minute injury type stuff. Was Julio Jones like he was somewhat questionable last night.
He was questionable going into it, but everybody kept saying he's still going to play. He's still going to play.
We're headed down that time of the year, man, where these teams are out of it. Like, I don't think that's a concern for Monday, but you got to really be careful, I think.
No, Vikings need this win. I mean, Vikings are fighting for the NFC North title with Green Bay. Right. They're fighting for seeding, for their positioning. So are the Seahawks. So it's definitely going to be a close game. Listen, I like it. I like the Vikings here, especially when you're talking about who their kicker is and Dan Bailey versus Jason Myers for Seattle. I got more confidence in Bailey on that one there. I love this Vikings offense. I love this Vikings defense. I really do, and I think that they can hold their own here and a little bit of somebody else's.
Yep. Well, always good to take the dogs on Monday night, although it's not a home dog. We'll take Minnesota plus the 3 points. Also, an interesting note that Seattle is really up against it. No matter almost how many games they win the rest of the season, if they do not finish ahead of San Francisco, I saw a stat last night that the Seahawks, in all likelihood, I mean, if I told you what the first-round playoff matchup was going to be, it could very well be Seattle at Dallas in round one of the playoffs. The Seattle's going to have to go on the road if they don't win the division, so they could be 14-2 or 13-3 and play Dallas at 8-8 in Dallas. That would be incredible, and not fair. They got to change that.
Boo, 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 boo. Oh yeah. Listen, the whole concept of division winners and not getting the bye, I don't buy into it.
Just reviewing a couple of other games. Redskins, Panthers. Panthers are 10-point favorites. We passed on that game. We couldn't take Washington, so it would be Carolina or nothing. What about the Bengals this week getting 3.5 points with Dalton back against the Jets? I would lean Cincinnati.
I would definitely lean Cincinnati on that one.
Yeah, I would lean Cincinnati.
Jets secondary is terrible. It really their big strong suit is their run defense. Their secondary is atrocious. And having Dalton throw instead of Finley is definitely going to,
for sure. This reminds me a little bit of Atlanta when they got their 2 wins back to back, and everybody was like, "Wow, they're great again," and then they fell apart. This could happen to the Jets. Very well could. How about the marquee game, San Francisco and Baltimore? I mean, look, I think San Francisco is the second or third best team in the NFL. I could not go against Baltimore, though. I mean, even with them being favorites, it would be either takes Baltimore or nothing. It's too scary.
You know what? I actually, because it's the 6-point spread, I actually don't mind San Francisco. I do think it stays a little closer. Listen, you can run on San Francisco. Passing on San Francisco is a different story.
Jackson's just out of this world. I don't know.
He's definitely out of this world, but San Francisco ranks number 1 number 3 overall in pass defense, number 1 against the tight end. They're going to be able to eliminate Mark Andrews. He put some good, solid press coverage on Marquise Brown. I mean, there's Lamar Jackson. He's throwing to Willie Snead, and he's throwing to Miles Boykin if you're taking away 2 of his top guys. So, I mean, listen, I think that it's going to be a very interesting game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game also. I actually believe that it's going to be very run-centric. I know a lot of people are talking about it being, taking the over on that. I don't know, man. I think if you're going to have to run heavy with Mark Ingram and use Tevin Coleman and those guys, it's not going to be just slinging the rock back and forth.
Tampa Bay was 1-point favorite. They're up to 2.5 at Jacksonville. It's hard to back Jacksonville, but honestly, taking Winston at Jacksonville is not something I would do either. I almost would rather take the Jaguars at home.
I would pass on this game altogether. That's just you have a better read on the Bucs than me.
Yeah, I would take Jacksonville. I would take them for a bounce back. The Jaguars can't stop the run. Buccaneers can't run, right? It feels like a close game. Feels like the right side. Eagles at the Dolphins. I could only take Philly.
Right.
Green Bay at the Giants is an interesting game. The Giants played just well enough last week to cover, and they're getting 6.5 points at home. Green Bay is a hard team to figure. I think that they are worse than their record is, but they're better maybe than this line. I don't know. Tough one to
temperatures for that game are going to be in the high 30s, low 40s. There's going to be a lot of rain. There's going to be a lot of sleet in that game. So if you're looking at that game, look at the under on that one as opposed to spread.
Andy Reid 17-3 coming off the bye. They're at home against the Raiders. I would take the Raiders plus the points. This is a game that looks like Kansas City is going to blow them out, and I think the Raiders end up covering. And again, it's a road dog, 65% this season. I would do that. Chargers Broncos would be worse than a pie bet. Would have to watch this game 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock.
You're talking about, man, it's going to be the debut of Drew Lock, first round draft choice.
This is a terrible game. It's going to be a horrible game.
I wrote my article in the New York Post about it, Craig.
There you go. So what's your opinion on this one? Have at it. A quarterback that we have no idea what he's going to do against a quarterback that is probably done.
I wouldn't bet this game if you paid me to bet this game.
Horrible.
But in all honesty, I think that he's a better quarterback than Brandon Allen is. I do think he's a better passer. The question is he going to get happy feet inside the pocket, or is he going to be able to stand tough? And that's really what it comes down to.
Yes, as good as mine. And then New England at Houston. I would take the Patriots.
I would definitely take the Patriots in this one.
Don't get this line. Tells me that maybe Houston wins, but I could not take Houston. I'm not a Houston fan. I think they got very lucky last week. And still only catching 3. I guess New England's offense has not looked that good, but I got to believe that over the last 10 years, if you took the Patriots -1, 2, or 3 against the spread and looked at the overall record, it's got to be astronomically good for you. So I'll ride with that. And that's it for the week.
There you go. You're just a bundle of energy right now, Craig. Look at you go. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Then that's it. That's it for us. You got the tickets over on wageralarm.com. You can take a look at those.
We did amazing. We did amazing the last 2 weeks. I mean, you guys got to take a look at this record. 8-2 against the spread in the Super Contest.
Mm-hmm.
There were 7, 14, 12-2 or 11-3.
10-3-1.
10-3-1 in the Golden Nugget. You guys cannot do any better. Just follow and ride our picks right off into the sunset. Retire after this weekend just by betting on our picks.
If you please do not drive your yacht into my yacht in the south of France.
There you go. So right. I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Howard and I will be back here on Tuesday night. It looks like we have a little early conflict for Tuesday. So it'll be, I believe, a 9 o'clock Eastern live stream, unless we get 10-run ruled. And then we'll be back here earlier.
Silver linings Mish over here, everybody.
Little League game Tuesday.
That's going to do it for us here at the live stream. Big thanks to Matt Sells, our producer. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.